Hey guys, Mr. D Flip is here. Today we are starting a new book, a new unit, Unit 8. It's still going to be talking about fractions, but this unit is very short compared to both Unit 6 and Unit 7. It's actually only 5 lessons. But we are going to take it slow. This week we're going to focus on lesson 8.1 because there's different parts of the lesson. So today we're going to do the first part. So you need to have your Unit 8 book, page 455. That's the page we're going to be doing together today. You also need your lesson 8.1 notes. You can see it right here. So make sure you have that. Your Unit 8 book, your Unit 8 notes, slate or notebook, and marker or pencil. So before we dive into anything new, I wanted to start off the lesson today with a quick review of 3 terms that should be familiar to us by now. So the first term is what we've been doing now for 2 whole units and probably close to 3 months. First term is fraction. So a fraction is, well, I'm not going to get that. A fraction is a part of a whole, right? It's a piece of something. So it could be a piece of a pizza, part of a whole with a W. It could be a piece of a candy bar. It could be a part of a desk that is being put together. It's a fraction. It's a piece of the whole thing. That's what a fraction is. Let's see if I can back up. Whoop, running into my easel here. So a fraction is a part of a whole. We learned that way back, I want to say the end of January we learned that. A unit fraction is also a part of a whole, okay? But the difference is the numerator of a unit fraction is always going to have a 1. So while I'm writing this, can you think of a unit fraction? Underline fraction, underline unit fraction. So what's a fraction that would have a numerator of 1? We could say 1/6. We could say 1/17. We could say 1/33. All of those would be examples of unit fractions. They just need to have a numerator of 1. Now, what that represents is it's one piece out of that whole. All unit fractions are one part or one little piece out of the whole. So even something like 1/2, it's half of it, but it's 1/2 out of the whole thing. Okay? So a unit fraction is one piece. The last word is the word product. Now this is going all the way back to, I want to say, the end of October, maybe even early November, when we talked about this word product. We haven't seen it in fraction world yet, but we're going to see it a lot this week. So product always means to multiply. So if I said, what's the product of 3 times 2? You would say, Mr. D. Philippus, the product of 3 times 2 is 6, not 5. It's 3 plus 2. That would be the sum. A product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So those 3 things you need to know for this lesson. A fraction is part of a whole. A unit fraction is one piece of that fraction. And a product always means to multiply. Okay? So that's the first thing that we need to understand to be successful today. All right, let's dive into the book. So we are on, what did I say? What page? 455. All right, and it starts with a word problem. So I'm going to read it to you. And as I read, we're going to mark it up. Mark up that word problem. All right, here we go. At a pizza party, each pizza was cut into 6 equal slices. All right, so get that visual in your head. You got 6 slices on this pizza. At the end of the party, there was 5/6 of the pizza left. Must not have been that hungry of a party. Only 5/6, or there's still 5/6 of it left. Roberta put each of the leftover slices in its own freezer bag. So she's going to save this for later. Smart girl. How many bags did she use? All right. So what part of a pizza did she put in each bag? Oh boy. So we got quite a bit to mark up here. So we're going to start first with the question. So what questions do we see? What do you think? I do. I see that. It says, how many bags did she use? That's question number 1. So underline that and then put a question 1. All right. How many bags did she use? There's a second question. It says, what part of a pizza did she put in each bag? We also want to underline that, and then we're going to put a number 2 because we want to make sure we answer both questions. All right. Anything else important here? Well, we know that once the party ended, there was 5/6 of a pizza left. And they actually have that drawing in your book. So I'm going to draw mine here. So let me make sure. I want it to look the same. So we have 1/6 here, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. My green marker's running out. And 5/6. So you can see what I mean here by they must have not been that hungry of a party because only 1/6 of that pizza got eaten. So I'm going to show you. There's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6 of a pizza left. Now I put what kind of fraction in there? Well, let me get a little closer here. What kind of fractions are those? Those are called unit fractions. All right, and a unit fraction we learned has a numerator of 1. That is old news. All right, so the first thing it says, write 5/6 as a product. There's that word, multiplication. Write it as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So the picture shows us, this picture right here, and in your book shows us blank 6 size parts. So how many 6 size parts are there? Right here, blank size parts. There are 5, and I forgot to write the word 6. 5 6 size parts. Okay? Now, it also wants to know, or it also says that each slice, each 6 size part of the pizza can be showed by a unit fraction. So what unit fraction does each slice represent? So each slice, which unit fraction would we say? It's represented by 1/6. Okay? We know that because it has a numerator of 1. Each one has a numerator of 1, and it's one piece or one part of our whole. So 1/6. All right. Now, it says we can write this 2 different ways to show 5/6. When we multiply, multiplication is really, just repeated addition over and over and over again. So if you said, like, what's 4 times 3? 4 times 3 is 12. But what you're really doing is, what's 4 plus 4 plus 4? If you do 4 plus 4 plus 4, it's also 12. But multiplication is a faster way to get your answer. So our first way is we could add. And this is in your books right now. It says 5/6 equals, and we're going to fill this in with me, 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. And why we did that, there's 5 of them here, because there's 5/6 of the pizza left. Each one of those unit fractions represents 1 slice. That's the first way to do it, but that's too much. There's an easier way to do it. We could write it as a product of a whole number. Here's that word product. Means multiply. Now they want us to do a whole number and a unit fraction. Now this is in your notes. And it says right here. So we can use the numerator and the unit fraction. So our numerator can actually be our whole number. So watch this. Our numerator, can you guys see? Hold on, move this over. Our numerator was 5. So I could make my numerator my whole number. Watch this. It's going to be nice and big. My numerator is 5. That's my whole number. Product means to multiply times a unit fraction. Because I want a product of a whole number. Here's my whole number. Product multiply. And a unit fraction. Well, my denominator is going to stay the same. 6. What numerator could I put there to make it a unit fraction? You just wrote a fraction multiplication problem. 5 times 1/6 equals 5/6. We know that here because if we look at our model, right? I have 1/6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. How much is there? 5/6. Okay? So you're going to see that today in the 3 problems that you're going to have to answer. There is another one at the bottom of your notes that we're going to fill in right now. So example number 2 says 3/12. So we could write that as, get my slate. If they wanted it as, this is awkward doing it this way. Turn it around. Oh my gosh. Back up and hit my easel. All right. Use your numerator. We're going to make that your whole. Numerator is going to be your whole. So we have 3, our product, multiplication, and a unit fraction. Denominator stays the same. What numerator can I put there to make it a unit fraction? There's your answer. So your answers today are actually problems that you're writing that are going to equal whatever that fraction is. Okay? So the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. You're building that today. Where do you get your whole number from? You get it from your numerator. Where do you get your unit fraction from? You get it from your denominator. Stays the same. And your numerator is going to be a 1 because it's a unit fraction. All right? So what you guys are going to do right now, make sure you fill in page 455 in your book. You guys are going to go to page 457, and you're going to do number 2, 3, and 4. Same thing. You're writing the fraction as a product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So your answers are going to look like this. You're going to have a whole number times a unit fraction. When you're done, either email or Dojo it to me, or go ahead and post it on our Flipgrid for today. All right, guys, good luck.